Alrighty, welcome to. Are we there yet? Yeah, welcome to the next watch along in the list of Star Wars stuff. This is the Book of Boba Fett, episode 3. I watched the previous 2 episodes a while before I finished, before I even started the second season of Mandalorian. So I'm curious to see where this goes. It's hard not to hear from people who have watched some of this already, and many of them are sort of the this this series went off the rails and it wasn't good enough to get renewed stuff, as people say. But like, I don't know. I was a fan of the Star Wars short story anthology books that came out years ago, and many of those would probably fall into the category of like an okay to mediocre at best episode of an anthology series now on TV, and they wouldn't be anywhere near good enough to do a whole season of an episode, a show on. But I loved every one of those short stories, and there are a few of them I was like, I don't know if that fits with my understanding of the lore of Star Wars, but like I enjoyed having a Star Wars story enough to be able to enjoy it. So if you're unfamiliar with this concept, this is a watch along. You have to have your own copy. You watch along with me as I watch it for the first time. And as this season ends, my goal for all of these things is to do a review, a 1 minute review of the season, and then a longer form review of my thoughts and ideas of the series as a whole. But I will leave the watch alongs for people who want to watch me watch it for the first time and get a sense for it. I'm not a reactor, so that this is not what I want this channel to be about, is the reactions. But they're there for people who want to experience it with me for the first time and see how I go through it. I'm not particularly emotive. I will sometimes make comments. I don't watch my own watchbacks because I'm uncomfortable with seeing myself on camera. But as it stands, I hear some people like to watch along with people when they watch things for the first time. So I get it. But if you want to do that with this, you have to have your own copy. I will give you the countdown of 3, 2, 1, go. And you will have the audio cue for the startup. And then we'll watch along as we watch for the first time. All right, so let's step into episode 3, chapter 3, The Streets of Mos Espa, of the Book of Boba Fett on Disney Plus. So with that in mind, 3, 2, 1, go. Oh yeah, that beastly looking Wookiee. Bomar Monk. He looks familiar. So if there's a shortage of water and moisture farmers could farm water, but there's a shortage of work, seems like there's some discrepancies in how things are handled. Okay, so do we get a view of what happens with the Tuscan Raiders now? There we go. So how come you're not wearing one of their masks? This- Ah, nice. Pit droids and what's her name in the background. You just wiped out the whole tribe. That's I'm sorry, but that's a crappy story element. Like, that's cheesiness. You do it off screen. You just severed his connection from that piece of the story element. Like that was kind of pointless. That is a Wookiee dude. Wow, that's a hell of a curl toe. Ooh, taking some hits. Ooh, got him over the pit. Drop him. They're tree people. He can climb. Keep him in there. He's your new Rancor. Just pick off their guys right here. Leave them to squirm their way back to their own territories. Funny to see him here. He didn't ask your opinion. Hardly. You got to feed the damn thing. Yep. Nice. Okay, cool. Mm. Those are pretty glitzy looking bikes for a gang of hoodlums. They're too shiny. I'm sorry. They're just too damn shiny. I want some rusty rat rod pieces of crap that are powerful and did they just let loose a bunch of mouse droids? This feels different than the other Star Wars series. This feels less mature. This feels almost cartoony. I think that's what I'm getting off of this. That was yeah. This is a freaking cartoon. Those are some pretty cool looking ships. I'll give them that. Will you though? See, this written by John Favreau. See, that's the thing that puzzles me. Like Favreau's stuff has been good. Dave Filoni. So like their stuff has been pretty good so far. I feel like this feels wrong. Like not wrong wrong. It's okay, but this almost feels like you could have done this as a cartoon series. It does a lot of that stuff that like an animated series would do for a younger audience, where they introduce really cool new characters like the Wookiee bounty hunter and the cyborg gang and stuff like that, but they don't really delve very far into it. And we saw the introduction of the Tusken Raiders that Boba Fett becomes a part of, and then we write them off at these off-screen stuff. We don't we don't pursue that any further. We introduce Boba Fett gets to ride a Rancor at some point, I guess, in the future. But it's just kind of like you're giving us the cool factor and the fan service factors, and you are introducing, like, the thing I like about Star Wars is you're introducing more of the outside world, the fish people and the cyborg gangs and um, the bounty hunters, the Rancor riders. You're introducing some of the EU stuff with the Dothamar witches. Like, you're doing all of that stuff and expanding the world and making a world that I would like to explore further. But you're shallowly introducing, like, the Tusken Raiders. Like, you've got to tell me there's more going on with some of that in the background in the future. Otherwise, you introduce that whole tribe of Tuscans with individual characters that we can kind of be interested in, and now you've just wiped them off the board, off screen, and we will never see them again. You got to give us more of that in a different light. Like, some of them got away, and it'll be a conflict in the future of Boba Fett having to make peace with the fact that he walked away from the tribe at a certain point um, to serve other ends, or what? Because first of all, the black female Tusken, I'm assuming it was female. They never really delved that very far, but that did a lot of his training for him. Like, that character, we don't get to see an end to that character at any point. Like, what? You can't do that. That's garbage. That's a garbage way to deal with a piece of the story you set up for us. And, like, the mayor, is the mayor even going to show up again? What about this Twilight Club owner? Are we going to see that character again? Are we going to see anything to do with the water merchant who was trying to manipulate Boba Fett earlier? We're going to see the Wookiee again? If we don't see any of them ever again, I'm going to be pissed. You know, and so, like, you've introduced things as they are pieces for you to be able to forward the ambitions of the episode you're in, but you don't give them enough life that they matter past the time you've used them. And then you fill in the rest of the space with the cool backstory of how Boba Fett got to where he is now. And you fill in the backstory with a speeder bike gang and Rancor riding opportunities and, machismo standoffs in the desert and a speeder bike race, a speeding car chase kind of situation. Like, I don't feel like the backstory of Boba Fett climbing to power in Mos Espa carries enough of the weight for a series, and so I think they're filling it out with this rest of this stuff. But it feels like an episodic cartoon series in a lot of these action flashbang special stuff that doesn't have the narrative weight that some of the other Star Wars universe stuff tends to carry. I don't know. Maybe I'm just being too harsh, and maybe I'll find out more as we go forward. But as it stands right now, I mean, I liked some of the fleshing out of the background stuff going on. Boba Fett's partners. Oh, so the next one will be about how he meets up with Fennec. I don't know. Like, I'm not sure how I feel about this yet. Like, I keep waiting for, like, I was waiting for um, the Boba Fett moment of how he shifted. Like, I would almost rather he have stayed with the Tusken Raiders. I don't need him to take over Jabba's palace. That whole concept is, I don't care about it. I don't care about any of that, honestly. Um, if you were to do that in the way that I would have been invested in, I almost feel like you could have built the story going forward as Boba leads the remnants of a partially destroyed Tusken tribe to take over Jabba's palace and establish a Tusken, I don't want to call it a crime syndicate, but a Tusken leadership role in taking control of a region of Tatooine. Like that, I would pay to see. And it would be interesting to see if you could do that in a varied way. This feels like you made Boba he's a Mandalorian, he's a clone trooper, he's a bounty hunter. Now you made him a Tusken Raider, and now you made him a leader of a crime syndicate, and now you're kind of like he's going to try to be the daimyo of a region on Tatooine, and then what are you going to try to make him the mayor? And then you're going to try to make him the champion against the fish people? Like, I mean, that feels like you're just trying to stack reputation on Boba Fett. And you're introducing things that are going on in the world around him, but like they're tacked on as things to add to Boba Fett's belt. And I feel like that's something you get away with a like a Power Rangers or a like a Saturday morning cartoon He-Man kind of story. And I'm not quite there for it here. But I'm only 3 episodes into a 7-episode series. So I'm not even halfway in yet. So maybe it'll grow on me as we go further. I hope. I mean, there are elements of this that I do enjoy that they introduced. So I can get behind some of that. I mean, I would do things a little bit differently with some of them. The speeder bike gang, cyborg group, like I feel like we had some of that in the Solo story, and I like the elements from the Solo story a little bit better than the flashy Vespa looking speeder bike gang in this. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see if it grows on Manny. All right. I will see you for the next episode.